Author and nutritionist Robert Ferguson. Please welcome Robert Ferguson.
All right, y'all, let's hear it for America's Fat Loss Coach, Robert Ferguson!
Hello. This is Robert Ferguson. Yes, Robert Lorenzo Ferguson. And yes, you're in the right place. I'm just having fun. I want to welcome everybody here. If you're listening for the very first time, I want to say thank you for being here. If you have not been to our YouTube channel, please go over and check it out. And make sure you hit the like, subscribe, hit the bell so that whenever we upload information, you are the first, or at least you know about it. And then you can listen in, watch whenever it is convenient to you. Okay. Now, if you are my friend or if you want to share with other people, please do so. Just share it. If you're on social media platforms like Facebook, share it. I mean, I'm going to share some information today that I believe can help a whole bunch of people. Okay? A whole bunch of people. If you know anyone who has high blood pressure, or they found out recently that they have high blood pressure, anyone who's a type 2 diabetic or they're pre-diabetic, anyone who believes or thinks that they have insulin resistance, and that's a concern of theirs. Anyone who's trying to lose weight, but for some reason they're having a really tough time getting the pounds off. Like what they've done in the past and programs they've done in the past is just not working. And you know what? I'm just going to throw this out there. Anyone who has become familiar with semaglutide or any of these GLP-1 agonist type drugs, right? Wegovy, Ozempic, Mounjaro. Okay, I may share some information about that. And if I do, you want to know about it. I've talked about it in the past. I'll share some science with you. Now, everything that I am going to share with you today is based on evidence-based, clinically proven outcomes. I'm going to share with you something that has happened in the last couple of years, and specifically in the last 4 months. I'm excited about it because insulin resistance is real. It is really real. Now, you may be thinking, well, what the hell is insulin resistance? Okay, well, I'll do my best to answer that. But if you got questions, post your questions and let me know where you're from. So as we get into this, and I'm not going to keep you long, but if you got it in your fingers where you can type in and let me know where you're from, type in where you're from. Are you from Darlington, Wisconsin? Are you from Idaho? Are you what city am I? Boise? Are you from Anderson, Indiana, where I grew up? Where are you from? Are you in Los Angeles, California? Are you in Boca Raton, where I spend a lot of time? Right? Could I go back and forth? Boca Raton, Florida. If I'm not there, I'm in Ventura, California. If I'm not there, I'm somewhere. And we have a lot of places to go to. I just found out that I'm going to be in Michigan, probably May, maybe June, but I will be there. Had a really good call. Can't wait to come. Want to spread the good news over the diet blues. Okay. And Colorado, hey, I'm going to make that happen. Colorado is going to happen. So Melissa is in the house. I'm glad you're here. Sharon from Oregon. I love Oregon. I really love Oregon. I mean, it's in my top 10. It's in my top 10. I've driven from California to British Columbia, okay, Canada, quite a few times. And I love going through the states, Washington State, Oregon. I've done a lot of seminars in both Oregon and more seminars in Washington State. Love Walla Walla. Oh, yeah. I can tell you all about it. And they were nice to me, gave me cases of wine that lasted a whole bunch of time. Okay. And then we got one of our top awesome progressive coaches right there, Crystal. She is amazing. I'm telling you. If you live in the Detroit area and you want a diet-free life coach, or wherever you live, that's the lady that you want to contact. She's on it. She's on a mission. Love some South Carolina. Love some South Carolina. Some North Carolina. Love Myrtle Beach. And one of my favorite cities, and I'll quit rambling. One of my favorite cities, okay, one of my favorite cities in the United States of America is a city called Asheville, North Carolina. I love Asheville, North Carolina. and one of my good buddies is there, I'm going to reach out to him because it's time for me to go back to Asheville, North Carolina. Since the pandemic, I have not been doing many seminars. I usually do somewhere between 20 to 30 seminars a year, at least. Okay, so it's happening. I did find out this morning that we're coming to Georgia, so got some big things happening there. So anyway, I'm excited. Now, the purpose of this chat right here today is answering the question that I pose for those who have ever wondered why some people lose weight easier than others. That's a question. Have you ever heard someone or have you even thought about that? Or why is it that I lose weight? Like I lost weight easier when I was in my 20s compared to in my 40s or 50s. Now, at this moment in time, there's a lot of people who are dealing with this thing called insulin resistance. And insulin resistance is real. You'll hear people talk about it, but you don't really, it's hard to really understand like what it is because it's not something that you can just feel. Now, in short, insulin is a hormone that is secreted from this thing in your body called the pancreas. And one of its primary roles is to help get glucose, which is sugar. So if I say glucose, sugar, glucose, same thing, get it out of the blood and into your cells. And we're talking specifically your muscle cells, your fat cells, and your liver cells, right? And when you become resistant, what happens is that the cells, the receptors on the cells, they don't respond the way they used to. So insulin's having a more difficult time getting inside. So if you think of a receptor, which is on every cell in your body. So there's a receptor for insulin on every cell in your body. When you look at muscle cells, fat cells, and liver cells, there's a door. That's the receptor. And insulin helps make that door open. And it's kind of like when you have a key that like works really well. And then after a while, the key, you got to push it, you got to pull the door up, and it starts to become more difficult to get the door to open. You're becoming more insulin resistant. And it's not all your cells all at once. It takes time for this to happen. Now, unfortunately, we live in a world where when you go to your doctor, you do your visits, they're looking at your glucose. They're always talking about sugar. And they look at your fasting glucose and they look at your what they call a hemoglobin A1C. And from that, they're looking at sugar. It's all about sugar. And the average doctor is not looking at insulin. Well, before your glucose starts to go up really high, insulin is already up there. It's circulating, but no one's looking at it, which is, in my opinion, a disservice. It's an injustice. Because if we focused on elevated levels of insulin in the blood and we dealt with that, you would never deal or have problems with the glucose. Now, there's a lot of you going, oh, my glucose is good. I'm good. My glucose is great. Okay, that's great. You can still have hyperinsulinemia, meaning elevated levels of insulin in the blood that is 100% part of the causation for so many metabolic challenges, to include high blood pressure, migraines, PCOS, fatty liver, Alzheimer's, dementia, and the list goes on and on. But again, we're treating the symptoms and nobody's really looking at insulin and the role that it is playing in why you have these problems, right? Think about it. Think about your life. You get out of high school, you go to college, everything seems to be going well. Next thing you know, you gained a couple pounds because you're getting older, you're not as active, things are changing, maybe more sedentary. Then you start to have a family and you go from, let's say you were 120 all the time, now you're 135. Or maybe you're 130, now you're 155. Or maybe you find yourself in a situation where you were 135 and now you're 195. It just shows up. It seems like overnight, boom, it just happens. And then you deal with it, you lose the weight, no problem. You're 29 years old. Maybe you have some kids, now you get married, life goes on, you get a job, and now you're 40-something. You go to lose the weight, oh my God, it ain't happening. It's just not working the way it used to. But somehow you push through and you make it happen. Next thing you know, you're 50, and now you try it. I'm going to do the same thing I did, 10 years ago. Oh, it doesn't work the same. Well, behind that curtain, behind the scenes, you have had elevated levels of insulin, but you never knew it because your doctor didn't check for it. And it's not like you can just see it happening, but it happens. And on your cells, trillions of cells in your body, they're becoming more and more resistant, and you have no clue about it. Next thing you know, you have autoimmune challenge. Maybe it's Hashimoto's. It's something else is showing up. Oh, I got fibromyalgia. I got this. I got that. And insulin is playing a role in all of that, you guys. Insulin is playing a role in all of that. So when I put this out there and I say, look, I could create another program and sell millions of dollars of a program. But I know that having a coach who can teach you a program and teach you how to eat is way more important than you just getting a book or you just getting a program. That's why I'm excited to introduce you to coaches. I'm excited to coach you. I'm excited to put you in the hands of someone that can help you, because nutrition science changes all the time and we constantly are changing. And the built-in accountability of having someone who you're going to check in with, who is going to bring clarity to the situation so you cut through the confusion. Man, how can you lose when you have a coach? So reach out to us to learn more about being coached. And I can connect you with coaches. Sometimes I have openings and I can coach you. And if you don't have it in you to do that, I have an 8-week fat loss challenge. Learn the basics of the methodology. And maybe you are that person who can actually learn a methodology and just do it and then own it. But I can tell you right now, eventually, if it can work for you, it's nice to have a coach. I have been coaching the same people, some of the same people, for well over 20 years, you guys. So why do they keep coming back? Well, things have changed. Things change. Things get better. And like what I'm about to share with you, a breakthrough situation. I cannot wait to tell you about this because it's been mind-blowing. So this is what happened, okay? So right now, according to the University of Carolina, there was a study done not too long ago. 88% of adults, which is age 20 and older, have some type of metabolic challenge, meaning there's a good likelihood they're experiencing insulin resistance and don't know it. The same as we know that almost 100 million people, adults right now, are pre-diabetic and have no clue. And if you're pre-diabetic in a very short period of time, you will be diabetic. We see the numbers increasing. If you look at the black, I'm talking about the black community right now. Black women. Let's be specific. Black women right now, as we are breathing and as you are hearing my voice on this live, if you're catching a replay, the numbers are still the same, or they're probably worse depending on when you catch it. 67% of black women are clinically obese right now. When you look at it from a national standpoint, about 42% of adult women, adults, all adults, men and women, are obese. If you look at women, it's a little higher. If you take out the guys. Go back to the black women. And Latino women, you're right behind them. Caucasian women, you're right behind them. 67%. So we know that in 2030, as I'm sharing this information, it's 2023, we know that in 2030, 80%, that means every 8 out of 10 black women that you see in the grocery store will be obese. We've been talking about these stats for 4 decades. And every decade when we update the stats, they were worse than what we predicted. So I'm being conservative because nothing is changing to change anything. If you knew what I knew that's about to come as far as the Biden administration, what the White House and this administration is getting ready to do with the nutrition, it's going to get worse. Unless you become your own health advocate and you take control of your situation and learn, you must be informed. And as a guy who believes in God, the Bible teaches me that our people perish for the lack of knowledge. If you don't have knowledge when it comes to nutrition, you're going to perish. I've been sharing this since 1995, and nothing's changed. I have partners who are second generation healthcare providers and health workers in that space. The same thing my partner's dad was talking about 30, 35 years ago as far as the problem is still the problem. The only thing that you see that's different is the people who take control and they grab it and own it. And you can't grab it and own it unless you have clarity and the right information. Anyway, I need to get focused here and share with you why I'm doing this live. Can you hear me? Can you hear me live? And yes, I will be in Canada. And I will, Linda. We're going to do something in Arizona. The ball is rolling, people. The ball is rolling. You know, it's funny because I've had some people who are thinking about becoming a coach. I say, you better get in now. If I were you, do it now. And then they go and they spend all kind of money on all these crazy programs, getting a certification. And some of them are listening right now. And I'm not being mean. I'm just saying, I'm sure there's some value of whatever you did. But you missed the boat when it came to understanding that you could be helping people with an evidence-based, clinically proven program, something that actually works. You could have saved yourself money and time and put yourself in a position to win. Because right now and moving forward, people are going to need our help. Communities are going to need our help. Companies are going to need our help more than ever. I'm doing presentations with physicians, biochemists, like specialists, like on a regular basis every week. And every time we present and share, they're like, whoa, man, wish we had known this before. There was a Fortune 20 company that I met with about, 11 years, 12 years ago. And they had just spent about $12 million on a wellness program. They hired these two physicians. And I was given an opportunity to present to them anyway. And I remember the room got quiet and they looked at me and they were like, and I was like, did I say something wrong? And they're like, no, we just wasted $12 million. We should have worked with you and your methodology and your coaches. That's true. True story. Okay, let's get to it. All right, you guys. So in the post, I have this client. And this client has insulin resistance. And she has struggled to lose weight. And she saw me post something on Facebook, I'm going to say maybe a year and a half ago. And we connected. She became my client. I did her carb threshold score, which is a way for us to figure out what her level of insulin resistance was. And she definitely had a high level of insulin resistance. Now, what that means when it comes to weight loss is this. When insulin is elevated in your blood, okay, when insulin is up, all you got to do is remember this much. Your body biologically will not release fat. Now, you could lose weight, but the weight will come from water and bone and muscle. It will not come from fat. So when insulin is up, you're not losing the right type of weight. So we had her doing what we were doing, and the weight was not coming off. The fat was not coming off. And when we got a little bit of a gain, it was a little bit of a gain. And of course, she's starting to be discouraged. Now, she stayed the course. And if you stay the course and you keep eating the way we teach people how to eat, things will get better. It just takes longer. And then I put together this cocktail. And for the coaches, you guys who are catching this live or the replay, reach out to me. I'm definitely going to teach this in our upcoming coach retreat. I'm going to share the details of it. And then for all the other coaches, I will share the details of it. But I created this cocktail. It's something that these people drink. And I had her drink it. Now, this is no crazy supplement. This is all regular, real stuff. This is not anything crazy. And for anyone who knows me, and if you don't know me, know this. I am evidence-based, clinically proven. We take a scientific approach. We don't play games. We're not selling you some lie. This is not, when I say cocktail, it's something that is natural, and we put something together, and it addresses an issue that's real. And I'm not going into detail. I'm not going to give it away right now, but I'm telling you. And if you're one of my clients, and if you're a client of any of the coaches, especially, the ones that I talk to on a regular basis, ask them about it. But I have a cocktail with everything being the same. This woman who struggled with losing weight, the pounds started just coming off. She started releasing fat like wax coming off a burning candle consistently. Now, she followed the methodology. I'm not talking about being reckless and out there just gorging. But she was a prime candidate for what I share with her and what I had her start doing. And now I know exactly what to ask clients. I know exactly what puts a person to be a qualified person to actually learn about this cocktail. I can tell you this. Prerequisite is it does help, or the cocktail is for someone who works out. If you exercise and works out, the cocktail we've seen in the last 3 months, it worked way better compared to people who don't work out. Now, for people who don't work out or exercise, it still works, just not the same. So the people I'm talking to, you know who you are. You work out, you feel like you eat right, you're doing everything right, but man, the weight ain't coming off. I'm talking to you. Now, if you're 23 years old, I ain't talking to you. If you're 27, I'm probably not talking to you either. Even if you're 30, I'm probably not speaking to you. But if you're over 30 and you feel like I'm working out, I'm doing everything. And then I got this one client. She's 36 years old. 36. Little bit of insulin resistance, not a lot. Introduced her to this. Bam. She's like, Robert, I have not weighed this since way before kids, which takes her back. That's 15 plus years. Works out every day. She's working out, I would say, if it's not every day, she does not go a week without, she's working out at least 5 times, probably 6. But when I say every day, a lot of her weeks, she's working out every day. Not hardly eating anything, watching everybody else eat a piece of cake at the parties. And she's just sitting there doing all of this work, feeling restricted, feeling deprived, feeling horrible, denied all the time when it comes to food. Everybody else is eating. She's putting in all this extra time to work out, sitting there starving, hearing her stomach growl, and the weight ain't coming off. I introduced her to this cocktail. Ask me if the weight's coming off. Ask me if the weight's coming off. I'm not even going to answer the question until somebody says, ask me the question. Ask me if the weight is coming off. This person who's starving, struggling all the time, feel like she can't hardly eat anything. I wish you guys could see me. I'm in a situation where I don't have access to a camera. If you could see my facial expressions, you would go, oh, Robert is serious. I am very serious about this. And I'm blown away because I actually discovered it. Well, actually, I'm not even going to take credit for that. It fell into my lap. And when I say it fell into my lap, it came about as a result of looking for answers. It's kind of like when I first came up with the methodology, I was looking for answers. And then it happened. But this one really just fell into my lap. And I'm so excited to share it personally with the coaches when we have our retreat in Wisconsin. Because it's going to put our Diet Free Life coaches, who are nutritionists, health and weight loss coaches, it's going to put them in a position where they're going to be able to help a whole bunch of more people. And it's evidence-based, you guys. We got the science and it's clear. So, any of you who are my clients and I haven't had a chance to talk to you this week, make sure you bring it up. I'll share it with you. I shared it this morning I had like 6, 7 clients I talked to this morning. I shared it with them. They're like, oh my God, that makes sense. I go, I know. But I'm not sharing with like brand new clients unless they have all the signs where I know it's going to help them like right now. Insulin resistance is real. So Melissa asked a question. That's right. I like Melissa. It's great to be working with you again, Melissa. Melissa asked the question, is the weight coming off? Yes, it is. This woman's 36 years old. And you know what makes me, I just smile. But then I also get mad because this is information that most people would benefit from knowing. She had no idea. She had no idea. And I wasn't looking for certain things, right? So I got to smack myself upside the head because I had inklings about this for probably 15 years. About 8 years ago, in 2015, I was pretty clear on it. And then about 2 years ago, when I started coaching more people, right? So I made available this coaching program where I could coach more people. I wanted to get the data. So in working with a whole bunch of people on a regular basis, put me back in the game, you know what I mean? Because I used to coach 70 hours a week. So I got back in the game where I'm coaching probably about 30 hours a week. And that's a good amount for me because I have a whole bunch of other things I'm doing. But 30 hours a week really keeps me in the game. And for the people who have given me a chance to work with, it's really helped me, right? In a whole different range of ages. Now, the sad part, and I'm rambling just a little bit and I'll get back on point, but the sad part is there are clients that, like, all right, actually, I'll say this. I called one of my clients yesterday or two who I hadn't coached in a while, but I called her because it was ethical. This woman was working out really hard, sometimes twice a day. She has a PhD, really smart, brilliant lady, knows a lot about health. And she came to me to coach her. And we knew there was some insulin resistance. And so I was coaching her, but time was of the essence for her. So after a few months, I no longer coached her. And I knew that she knew enough, and she is very disciplined to like go and make it happen on her own. There was no need for accountability. She's one of those rare people, which I still felt it would have benefited her to have the accountability. Okay. But regardless, she went on her own, and I know her very well. She became a friend of mine, and she became a client or a customer, I would say, back in 2009. And so long story short, I reached out to her and we were able to get on the phone. We got on the phone this morning and I shared with her the science in the study that we just completed, where we had 64 people that had similar situations, meaning all of these people were active. Almost half of them had some signs of hypertension. So most of them, well, not most of them, but about a third of them had high blood pressure. And others had signs of high blood pressure. You didn't need to have high blood pressure, but that was there. Some of them had cramping when they would work out. But across the board, all of them were pretty consistent with their exercise. And so I called her. It was the right thing to do. And I shared with her. And she was elated. And she's like, wow. I mean, she knows who I am. I mean, it's not about making money. It was like, I wish I could have helped her months ago with what I have discovered now. So I reached out to her because I felt it was the right thing to do. And I didn't have the conclusive evidence when I was working with her that I do now. And so I gave her that information. And let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. I already know the outcome because with these 64 people, it's been consistent. Unbelievable. Okay. Any questions? If you guys have questions while I'm on, otherwise, I'll jump off. But if you have questions, let me give a couple shout outs. Cindy from Indiana. We love you, Cindy. I got you. Somebody's from Canada. I wish I could see your name, but hey, I'm a Canadian phenom. My kids are they have dual citizenship. Somebody said they're talking to me. I don't know who that is, but hey, I'm here for you. Melissa, is the weight coming off? I answered it, but then Melissa says, well, what is it? What is it? I can't just give it away like that. I mean, but you're my client, Melissa. So guess what? When you and I have our call, I will be sharing it with you. But I can't just throw it out there. Otherwise it'd be an article. I'm just saying that I'm happy that we discovered it. It's like, I mean, do I just give everything away? Should I just wake up tomorrow and say, I don't have any bills, but yeah, I'm just going to dedicate my entire life to helping people improve metabolic health and lose weight. and I'm just going to give it away? Or do I just give it to the people that I'm helping, that respect my time and energy, and I'm coaching them? I think that's fair. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, really? I'm not asking for, I have celebrity clients that pay, 5 figures every month. I've had clients pay me $250,000 for 8 weeks of coaching them. $250,000, right? That's 60 days. Break that down to an hour. I mean, that's people pay big bucks to get the edge. Now, I give away a whole bunch of information all the time, but I'm not going to just give away the cocktail. So the cocktail is what is making the difference, you guys. And working with someone who has that challenge. Now, if you're in our 8-week fat loss challenge, I'm going to definitely give away some, because we're going to be doing these weekly, like, fun, like, gatherings in the 8-week fat loss challenge, where, like, we're doing one tomorrow where I'm going to invite people to be there live, and I'm just going to share information. And so people in the challenge, of course, they paid a small fee to be in this challenge. My goal is to give to them and help them, like, be successful. So yes, I'm going to give. If somebody wants to do a free consultation, hey, reach out to us. We'll set it up, and I'll share with you if it makes sense to give you that information, right? My goal is to give you and empower you with the information, the tools to be successful based on who you are and where you are. But I'm going to tell you right now, doing a lot of these drugs and taking all these shortcuts is not the answer. It is not the answer. I mean, semaglutide is still growing in popularity, right? That's people who are taking Wegovy, Ozempic, and then you have some of the other tides like Mounjaro, all of these weight loss drugs where you go in once a week and you get that pin stuck right into your belly. I know exactly how the drug works, but I know exactly how the drug works where the physicians who administer it don't know the part when it comes to the fat cells. I know that those drugs will cause the fat cells to get smaller. And I know that when the fat cells get smaller, they will duplicate because of an enzyme that's impacted or is activated because of GLP-1 agonist, which is the key molecule in the drug that makes all of this happen, the incretin. And I know that may sound foreign, but I know. And I know that when you stop taking that drug, Wegovy, Ozempic, etc., those fat cells don't have the enzyme keeping them small. So what do you think is going to happen? Why do you think some people who lose 20 pounds using these drugs gain back 40 when they quit taking the drug? Why do you think people who've lost 50 pounds gain back 80 pounds after they quit taking the drug? It's because the doctors are not explaining what takes place inside of the fat cell. And liraglutide is when they did the first study on this, and I have the paper directly in front of me. And all of those ties, basically, we can assume that they work the same. So if you have an enzyme that's actually causing the fat cell to get smaller, but yet they continue to duplicate because you're losing weight, once that enzyme is not being activated to stay small, what the hell do you think is going to happen? It's going to grow. And you're going to gain the weight back. And the drug has been sending signals to your brain to tell you that you're not hungry. Of course, you're not going to eat as much because the drug is doing that for you. Food is not even exciting for you. And then you have all these side effects that you're dealing with. So you're talking about getting on a drug and staying on a drug. I mean, it's funny when I talk to people, they go, "Oh, I'm gonna get on that drug. I'm gonna lose about 20 pounds, and then I'll get off of it, and then I'll keep my momentum." You ain't keeping your momentum. It's kind of like, I'm gonna take a drug to help me sleep tonight, and after I get about 7 nights of sleep, I'm gonna quit taking that drug, and I'll still be able to sleep. No, you're gonna be sitting up at 3 a.m, 2 a.m, insomnia. As soon as you stop taking the drug, as soon as you stop taking Ozempic and Wegovy after using it to lose weight, you think your fat cells are going to just stay small? You think you're going to just not be hungry? You think the gastric emptying that takes place in your gut, how slow the food that goes through your intestine is going to just continue to be slow? No, the drug is doing that. And you don't even know what the the side effects are going to be if you end up taking the drug for a long time. They don't know. They can't tell you, oh yeah, well, people take this for 3 years. We know that they're good to go. No, they don't. Ask the doctor the right questions and you'll get some answers you probably don't want to hear. But what happens is you don't know what questions to ask. So you don't really know. You just go with the flow. You become an accessory to the negative outcome. And you can't blame them because you didn't ask the right questions. Come on. Let's get real, people. Let's get real. Okay, somebody's on there that said, what's the enzyme that keeps a fat cell small? Well, we're talking millions, if not trillions of enzymes in the body, right? There's an enzyme, so you can look it up. Liraglutide is the active ingredient. Same as semaglutide. And you can look at weight loss and effect on fat cells. You can go to pubmed.gov and you can find it. Okay. Or if you're a client, you can reach out to me, or when I talk to you, I'll share the paper with you. Okay. So remember, liraglutide. And anyone who knows me, if I'm working with any of my clients, many times I've had clients get me on the phone with their physicians. I would say 98% of the time, the physician is not aware of what I share with them. And then I quickly send them the papers to support what I did. That's evidence-based. Okay, so I can quickly send them exactly what they need to look at so they can shift their way of thinking. Because they're just going to just keep doing what they're doing until you can get them to look at some data. I get that. I'm respectful to that. I'm not just a guy out here just talking. The goal is give them the information that I have so that the physician can look at things differently. Because right now they're just going to prescribe. And trust me, you guys, if you didn't know this, doctors, they're not making money because you're buying the product. They make money because you have to come in once a week and get the shot. They get paid based on the doctor visits, and that gets them pretty excited. Because the more you got to come in, that's like, getting your hemoglobin A1C done every 3 months. That means you're going to come in 4 times a year. That's 4 doctor visits that they get, that before you had to get your hemoglobin A1C done, they didn't get those visits. If you're only going in once a year, you're not a prime client or patient for the average physician. They love patients that have to come in every 3 months. That is gold. They get paid based on you having to come in. If they prescribe medication, the laws are set up. They don't make money because you get on Ozempic, unless they own a pharmaceutical company on the side. And some of them do. It'll be under a different name, but they make money primarily because you have to come in for a visit. That's how they get paid. Okay. That's the truth. If you didn't know that, a lot of people don't know that. They think that they get paid based on you having to be on drugs. They don't get paid that way. That's not how doctors get paid. They get paid based on the visits. And if you have more problems, meaning you got to come in more often, then that means that's how they get paid. That makes sense, right? Does that make sense to you guys? Does that make sense? Think about it. They get paid. So the more sick you are, yes, they get paid because the more sick you are, because you got to come back in more. Every time you come in, that's a chance for them to get paid. It's kind of like, imagine if you had a gym membership, and I'm almost done. I'm going to close here. If you own the gym and your members, they pay you once a month, right? It could be Anytime Fitness. It could be 24-hour fitness, Planet Fitness, whatever. And let's say you only pay $10 a month. Well, they know that only 80% of the people who get a monthly membership show up. They're not calling you. Think about it. If you're paying $10 a month, you think they're going to call you? They're not going to call you. They know that you're probably not going to come back. Because if everybody came every day, they couldn't fit everybody in. So the gyms are designed around knowing that people are not going to show up. You're going to get a certain percentage of people that will show up on a regular basis. But imagine if they could get you to come in once a week and pay $10 every time you came in, they would call you then. Trust me. But that's not the way gyms are set up. They're set up with a monthly membership, or you could pay for a whole year. And they don't care if you show up or not. I've seen gyms make a killing charging people, let's say $99 for a year, or pay $40 and that covers you for a year. Because they know you're not coming in, and they make their real money because $40 is a lot. So put that out there for $40. You get a whole bunch of people for that month. Every month you get a whole bunch of people pay $40, and they know you're not coming back. But the offer is so great that they know they can get way more people for that month. And every month they can do these big promotions for $40, knowing that everyone is not going to come on a regular basis. They already know this. They've known this for years. I've consulted these companies. I've seen their marketing people. I've been in the room with them. I've seen it. Gyms are not designed for you to be successful. Now, they are a great tool where you could be successful, but they're not designed. That's not their business model. If everybody went and they have 10,000 members, they can't fit 10,000 people in every day. They can't. So they're counting on about 20% of the people to come on a regular basis. And when I say regular, that could be once a week. And then you have those diehards that show up 3 times a week. And some people, even more than that. But those are the rare people. And when they go in, the people at the counter know their name. Hey, John, Susie, hey. Right? It is unfortunate, but this is the way it is. That's why we must become our own health advocates. You must take control of it. Otherwise, you're just going to go through it, and then eventually you're gone. The gyms are set up. I mean, this ain't a gym thing, but they're set up like they don't even know. People die, and their credit cards are still charged for many, many months. Because they're not calling them. They're not checking in on them. There's no like tie-in for that because they're designed for you to come in, pay, and they really don't give 2 cents if you show up or not. Well, there you have it, my friends. Amy Prime. I can't wait to see you next week. Let's talk a little bit later, Amy. I think we should do a live tomorrow on Thursday, not Wednesday. Thursday. My daughter's birthday is today. I'm so excited. She turns 13, and we're getting ready to go do something really special. But I just wanted to throw this out there, you guys. I wanted to share this cocktail. This woman lost 60 pounds with me. And she really put in the work. But it was when I finally woke up and saw this one thing that made all the difference. And trust me, I've been looking for it. And it's mind-blowing to me. This little cocktail I put together has made such a big impact on this woman's life and all these people I've been working with. Unbelievable. And I look forward to sharing it with you. I really do. I look forward to putting it out there. And eventually in my next book, I'm going to share more of these kind of things. But the best thing you could do now is work with one of our coaches, do our challenge, reach out to me for a free consultation if you're interested in that. But there's nothing better than having a coach. I believe that. And I'll end on this. When I did my first infomercial, we sold $120 million worth of product in 16 months. So there's a lot of people who got to know who I was, not just in the United States, but Australia, all over. And I watched people be really successful, and that felt really good to this day. But when we were out there, I remember the owners of this company that owned the Magic Bullet at the time. They asked me, they said, Robert, if there's one thing we could add or take away, remove, improve, what would it be? And my answer to them was, we need to have coaching as part of this methodology. That is what is missing. And they liked it. And they kind of brought it in a little bit, but they didn't do it right. And then I decided I didn't want to be a part of that anymore and just focused on diet-free life. Because there's nothing better. You're talking about a person's health. You're talking about their well-being, their mental health, their physical health. Come on. It's not, I'm going to send you a book and say, hey, follow this. We're talking about you got like a life. You got grandkids. You got birthday parties to go to. You have vacations. You have like divorces. You got makeups, breakups. You have all kind of stuff you got to deal with. And if you had a coach and someone that could help you get back on track when you get off track, or to keep you in line, or to share with you new information when it comes out, because you got a life. You got other things you're doing. As coaches, man, we're reading medical journals on a regular basis. I mean, all day, every day. I'm going to seminars, conferences, having conversations with people. I am staying ahead of the game. And so when I get on the phone with one of my clients, and it's funny, and they go, well, I think, I'm done with the coaching right now. I'm going to take a break. Oh, okay. So you're taking a break from real updated knowledge and information that can be helping you for the rest of your life. Okay. Good luck with that. And I get it. Now, maybe someone couldn't afford it, but when it's affordable and you can afford it, are you serious? So my clients that I've had for over 20 years, I get it. And my clients, every time they talk to me, they go, Robert, every time, man, I feel like I'm learning something new or I got a better understanding. Sometimes people just want to be informed. I have clients that I meet with once a week. I have clients I meet with every 2 weeks. I have clients I meet with once a month. I have clients I meet with every quarter. I have a few clients that I meet with every 6 months. And I have one client that pays me a ton of money to meet with him the beginning of every year. And then sporadically, I'll talk to him. I only have one of those. But every January, this guy named Jay, and he pays me $1,500. I think that's a lot of money. $1,500 for 1 hour. And he wants me to have everything ready to bring him up to date on all the things that took place since our last call. And what do I project or think is going to happen? And I've been coaching this guy since 2001. That's 22 years. And we don't really talk at all after that. But for 21, 22 years, every year. Now, I coached him more in the beginning, but probably for about 15, 14 years, we have a once a year call. He pays me $1,500 for 1 hour. And I'm supposed to have everything ready for him for that 1 hour. And I do. I have everything ready for him. Because I keep track of all the things that changed over the last year. I have everything ready. So, boom. That's what I'm talking about. All right, you guys. Have a good one. I'm Robert Ferguson. I share because I care. And I just want you to know that if you're really challenged and you're struggling, but you want some answers, we are here to help you. This cocktail that I have makes sense. It's not for everybody. So I'll end on this, okay? If you feel like you're doing everything right and the weight is not coming off, okay, this is one of the things that I would say is this would probably work with you. This being said, that you understand the Diet for Your Life methodology, because if you don't know the methodology, get with a coach, you want to learn it, have somebody help you out with that, do the challenge, right? Okay, so let's say you know the methodology, but yet, and you're exercising pretty regularly, you're consistent. And you feel like, man, I'm really putting in the energy, but for whatever reason, I'm stuck. The weight is not coming off and there's weight to be lost. Then it's worth having a call with me. If that's not the case, right? So if you're someone who you know the methodology and you're just not, you're just not hitting it. You're on and off. Your birthday parties mess you up. You drink fast over the weekend. Easter, you're going to overindulge. Okay, if you're that person, then that's more, you need coaching. Coaching, you got to get your head right. That's something else. But if you're doing everything right, okay, and you're exercising, if you have concerns with blood pressure, yeah, you need to call me, or you need to get with one of our coaches, because I have a solution for you. That's what I'm talking about. All right, you guys. I'm Robert Ferguson. Thank you for letting me share. Stay lifted. Stay focused. Don't give up. You got this. Okay, let's not be the statistics. Okay, that's being normal. Let's be different. Normal is the average. I don't want to be normal. I want you to be different. You got it in you. Just tap into it, okay? Tap into it. All right, you guys. Have a good one. Peace.